Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies and explore intriguing controversies. In today's video, we're going to discuss the intriguing connection between Logan Paul, the controversial YouTuber, CryptoZoo, and the investigative efforts of Coffeezilla. Let's delve into this captivating story. Logan Paul, known for his entertaining content and occasional controversies, recently made headlines in the cryptocurrency world. He teamed up with CryptoZoo, a digital asset platform that combines NFTs and cryptozoology. But soon, this collaboration would find itself at the center of controversy.
The thing that I'm most excited for, and this is the first time I've ever said anything about this, for the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. Blockchain, people's money, transactions. It's a really fun game that makes you money. Wow. You might make a lot of fucking money, you might make no money at all, but like, it's gonna be fun. Kids are addicted to it. I really, really do believe it is gonna be the catalyst.
Enter Coffeezilla, a YouTuber known for his investigative approach to exposing potential scams and questionable practices in the online world. Coffeezilla raised concerns about Logan Paul's involvement with CryptoZoo, citing possible conflicts of interest and unethical behavior.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project.
We've put hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. Personally, the whole team, $1 million plus.
We had an issue with CryptoZoo, where our lead developer took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland, and like held it hostage for $1 million.
He literally never paid me anything at all, ever. Eddie promised me, 5% of tokens and $1 million. He literally never paid me.
This reporter says Eddie's entire story is fake.
The biggest reason it failed, in my opinion.
Doug, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some actual out there.
Yeah.
And it's not me. Like, I'm here to build.
Welcome to part 3. So far, we've discovered fake orphans, millions of dollars stolen, and a cast of sleazy characters, but now it's time to put it all together. What is the truth? And who's to blame? We're gonna start by going through leaked text messages of the CryptoZoo team to understand all of their motivation. Then we'll go to blockchain evidence and show who sold what. And finally, we'll confront some of the people responsible. But before we can do any of that, we have to start in March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched. Our 4 suspects, Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff, are in a group chat discussing CryptoZoo, which starts as a copy of something else. Quote, "I like imitating crypto kitties," Jake the Crypto King says. Logan replies, "I agree." And initially, it wasn't called CryptoZoo at all. It was called Crypto Pets, and they were gonna sell a pets token. And pretty early on, it became clear this was all about money, how they were gonna sell this thing to investors. In fact, Crypto King said he thought it was worth at least $20 million in only 6 months, saying the range is insane. $20 to $210 million. It's beautiful wherever we land. Eddie jumped in at this point and talked about how he could sell the project as an investment to a friend, Matt Higgins, saying, quote, "He has to spend that $350 million somewhere. Why not us?" And Logan says, "I love that idea. Crypto King, I'm in." And of course, you have Jeff saying, "Let's go." So you can see right there, they wanted to sell this game before it had even launched.
Coffeezilla meticulously analyzed the connection between Logan Paul, CryptoZoo, and the sale of NFTs. He questioned the transparency and integrity of the project, highlighting potential red flags and the potential for misleading marketing tactics.
You sell investors coins, usually at a discount, before you've launched. And then when you launch, you give them those coins. Now, like I said, the team didn't want to do that. So what they did instead was they bought the tokens on the open market right after launch. But they tried to get clever with it because they didn't actually announce that they were launching this coin at all. They stealth launched it on June 11th and didn't announce this token through Logan until August 18th, meaning they had all that time to silently buy up as much of the supply at a steep discount as they wanted. And the idea here was that doing this, the team could get these tokens extremely cheaply, which is kind of like a pre-sale, but without all the SEC troubles. And Crypto King makes this clear on June 7th when he says, quote, "Launch of the liquidity pool is where huge money will be made because you get in cheaper." And then says, "We, the team, begin buying out the liquidity pool. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, investors who want to be able to get in. So obviously the plan is we buy first, then we give it to our close friends and family, and then maybe the public eventually, right? And even the day before, Crypto King reminds everyone, quote, Zoo Day is tomorrow. I highly recommend everyone get a few $100 to a few $1,000s in Zoo when it goes live. It will likely 10 to 1,000x. So that was their plan. Rather than doing a pre-sale, they were going to do this stealth launch and hopefully get tokens cheaply the same way, but without all the legal troubles. Or at least that was the plan. Because on stealth launch day, this is where things first started to go wrong for the team. At first, everything seemed to go normal. The team sat in a circle and literally bought it out as planned. But the next day, Crypto King says something odd. Quote, a bot is playing with our token. Kind of cool to watch them work. But he doesn't mention who this bot is. And he also says the asshole finished selling, but doesn't mention who that is. Now, Jeff, Logan's manager, replies upset. He says, how do we prevent someone doing what they just did again? We went from a $130 million to $26 million market cap in 2 hours. It's not cool to watch. Logan jumps in. Yeah, wait, how did that happen? And he also says, what asshole? How did anyone get this token except for us and none of us sold? And I think actually this is incredibly suspicious because the implication of what Logan's saying is, hey, we tried to scheme this really well. We tried to all buy this without letting anyone know. How did anyone else figure out we were buying it, right? And this is where a fight ensues that's going to become really interesting. Crypto King deflects the question by saying, my buyer pushed it back up to $40 million. And Logan says, no, bro, F your buyer. Explain to me what just happened and how there were 30 token holders. And Jake tries to explain that this was just traders and bots happening to find the token. But Logan says only 5 of us knew about it. Jake says, well, many people chase volume and new tokens. And to some extent, he's kind of right. But Logan replies, cap. He doesn't believe it. Quote, I can't be the only one who thinks that's too incredibly convenient. Like someone was tipped off. And look, no one's more critical of Logan than me. But as I'm reading these texts, I was kind of like agreeing. Like, yeah, it does seem too nonchalant when somebody's ruining your secret plot. You know what I mean? Because Crypto King was acting very strange. He says, we created $40 million out of thin air. This is a success. Logan replies, this nonchalance worries me. F 40 million. It was at 120 million, which again, it's all about the money with these guys. But truth be told, I did agree that Crypto King's attitude seemed strange in these texts. I mean, he's not wrong that bots are a thing. Traders are a thing. But it sounded like he didn't want anyone to look into it. So, naturally, I looked into it. And what I found surprised me, because there were bots, but there's also unusual human activity during this time. So I tracked the 5 biggest buyers of this Zoo coin. And lo and behold, this is what I found. Logan was one of the biggest buyers, which is what you'd expect. But he wasn't the biggest. In fact, 2 of the biggest wallets seem to be associated with Crypto King himself. And here's where I paused. I said, wait a second. Why did this guy buy more Zoo tokens than Logan when this is mostly Logan's project? I thought Crypto King was a small part of this team. And so to get more info on this, I actually got access to an internal meeting note from the day of June 11th, which they called Zoo Day. And in it, we find actually some interesting information. We see that 5 founders bought in. They apparently were, quote, trading in circles until each person maxed out. But on the list of buyers and how much they spent are only 4 people, when we know 5 people bought. We have Danny, Logan's assistant, for 20K, Logan Paul for 100K, Jeff at 100K, and Eddie at 100K, but Crypto King is nowhere to be found. And yet, on the blockchain, I have him putting in $200,000 worth. And this number, by the way, seemingly is confirmed in a conversation I had with Crypto King, where he said, my 200K investment. And the reason this is important is because it does imply that something shady was going on the day of the stealth launch. Because Crypto King had a relatively small role in this whole project. He was the advisor, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like you can see from the internal meeting notes, they have a breakdown of who's getting what in terms of founder tokens. And like Logan Paul's getting 51%, Eddie's getting 30%, Jeff's getting 10%. Jake's only getting 5% of tokens, but he has the most of these like stealth launch tokens, which makes no sense. And it got me thinking that maybe what explains this suspicious behavior around like, oh, don't worry about who was buying at the time of the launch. Maybe that's explained because perhaps no one knew that he was buying up large parts of the token supply.
Through his videos, Coffeezilla pointed out discrepancies in CryptoZoo's claims and raised concerns about the financial motivations behind the collaboration. He called for greater transparency, urging investors and viewers to exercise caution and conduct their own due diligence.
It does appear like he bought tokens that maybe everyone didn't know about. So I'm really not a fan of anyone in this situation. And by the way, this whole thing was structured so misleadingly from the beginning. I have to talk to you a bit about it, because you might think that these tokens were the only tokens they had, but it's not even true. In the distribution section of Zoo's white paper, they say there's 2 trillion tokens, and a quarter of that are allocated to development, marketing, and founders. Those aren't even the tokens we're talking about right now, because they claim that those tokens were locked up for 6 months, and then afterwards, 10% was unlocked every month. And if that's true, there would be no reason for these funds to be blacklisted, right? Why would you blacklist something that would be locked up? And the answer is because, well, the founders had more than one set of tokens. Not only did they supposedly have these founder tokens that were locked up and couldn't be sold, these stealth launch tokens were different from that. It's like a whole different thing. And the tokens that they bought, that all of these guys bought, they could sell at basically any time because they weren't locked up, which is a massive problem. And this fact was explicitly laid out in their meeting notes with only one rule. They say, quote, no selling until $200 million market cap, and don't impact the market more than 3%, and not impact the market more than 10% in a day. And by the way, this is basically conspiracy to manipulate a market. You know, they're literally having insider rules for how to sell, but we're gonna look past that, right? Because these rules eventually kind of changed. A text from Logan's manager, Jeff Levin, came to the group chat, Zoo Founders, saying, guys, new and absolute rules. No one is to sell or transfer any Zoo. Logan's gonna make the call when we can make moves. And Logan replies, your tokens do not leave your wallet. This is a game. Now, that all sounds well and good. Don't sell your tokens, but the reality was, they're just kind of trusting each other, because these tokens that they're talking about, they're unlocked. They're not locked up, and they could sell it at any time. And I guess the question on my mind is that why Crypto King's tokens were blacklisted? Because they thought he would sell? Or maybe it's just the fact they found out he bought and they didn't know about all those tokens. It's honestly hard to say without knowing more evidence. And this is where we're going to jump into the blockchain. Now, I've tracked the wallets of the entire team and identified the largest seller of Zoo in the team. And it wasn't Jeff. It wasn't Danny. It wasn't even Logan. It was Crypto King. Crypto King sold, by my calculations, millions of dollars. And I know what you're thinking, how's that possible, right? I thought his tokens were blacklisted the day of the official launch. How could he sell that much? Well, the answer is that not all of his tokens were blacklisted. He had even more tokens behind the scenes. And what's worse, the CryptoZoo team actually gave him back a lot of his blacklisted tokens, which I guess you can see as a good thing or a bad thing, because he then turned around and sold those tokens, right? And from my blockchain analysis across his blacklisted tokens he got back and the tokens that he had squirreled away the whole time, he ended up making $6 million. He did this by sending out tokens from these larger wallets to dozens of smaller wallets, selling it, and then sending the money to final cash out wallets. So I used those final wallets to calculate the amount he made. When? Did it go to Jake? Did it go to Logan? Did it go to Jeff? Did it go to Eddie? We don't know. But what I know for sure is that no one was innocent, although there are certainly shades of guilt you can argue about, because of course, not everyone did sell. You could look at that as the most important thing. Logan Paul didn't sell. Jeff, Logan's manager, didn't sell. But does that make them innocent? Well, I don't think so, because they never built a game they promised people. Logan Paul specifically got millions of dollars spent on this game on the promise of the technology that he never built, that his team never built. And he never addressed the failure except to blame his developers who weren't paid. And you could say he promised to work backwards to fix it, but then never did. But at the same time, it's clearly not just Logan's fault either, because there are major team issues, right? You've got Eddie, selling millions of dollars of Zoo and then allegedly not paying developers. You've got Jeff, who was warned about Eddie, who kept him on the team anyways, and then after they fired Eddie, seems to also have failed to pay developers on time. And then you've got Crypto King himself, who sold the most, but claims he was the guy who was scammed, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's just like Avengers Assemble for the worst possible team you can imagine to build a crypto gang. And so, unsurprisingly, it turns out a lot of these guys backstabbed each other. And so, finding a way to wrap this up was difficult because it's hard to assign exact proportions of blame. Because if you focus on any one person, you kind of miss why this project failed. CryptoZoo, at the end of the day, did not fail because the price went too low. CryptoZoo failed because they never built a functioning game that they promised. Really, the number one problem, even bigger than people selling millions of dollars of tokens, was that they never paid the developers on time, as boring as that is. And as a result, the investors not only got rugged for millions of dollars, which is a problem, but they just didn't get the core thing they had bought from the beginning, which was not a crypto project, but something different.
I'm excited to launch my game.
You keep using and you just did it again. You keep using a word there, game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
That's it. That to me is the biggest scam in all of this. Yes, it's a huge problem. People stole millions of dollars, but it's a symptom of the larger issue, which is people didn't actually care about the game or this, whatever you want to call it. They just cared about the money. And this is ultimately what happens when you have an influencer LARPing as a businessman. It's what happens when you have a liar LARPing as a developer. And it's what happens when you have a shady crypto guru LARPing as a crypto king. You end up with a mess. And in my personal opinion, a fraud as well. And now that this thing blew up in their faces, these four seem to be dodging accountability faster than SBF dodges calls with me. Because I have reached out to everyone involved. I've tried to get all of their statements on things. So far, no one has taken accountability or offered to refund the victims at all. They're all hiding, pretending these victims don't even exist. But they do exist.
A victim of Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam has revealed that he has an NFT that gives him the right to confront the influencer in person.
I have an NFT from other project that gives me the right to see Logan Paul, to meet and greet with him, and I will actually use that right to tell him this story again, show him this video in front of me, and see how he reacts when he sees that my family, my whole family and my kid are affected with this situation, because I think that's not human.
In 2021, Paul announced that he was launching CryptoZoo, a cryptocurrency-based game. However, the project faced accusations of using stock photos from Adobe and ultimately never saw the light of day. YouTuber Coffeezilla recently uploaded videos exposing the scam, and in them, some of the CryptoZoo victims shared their thoughts. Should Logan Paul refund all investors in the CryptoZoo project? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to NFT Premiere for more updates. The controversy surrounding Logan Paul, CryptoZoo, and the investigation by Coffeezilla generated significant buzz and debate within the cryptocurrency community. It highlighted the need for transparency, responsible marketing practices, and investor education in the ever-evolving world of NFTs and digital assets. As this story continues to unfold, it serves as a reminder to approach investments and partnerships with careful consideration. It's crucial to research projects thoroughly, seek diverse opinions, and remain vigilant against potential scams or unethical practices. We encourage you to follow Coffeezilla's investigation and stay informed as the truth unravels. Here are some of the victims affected by Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our future videos. Until next time, stay informed and invest wisely.